Well, hello out there with me and my wavy, bouncy telephone on the video today. Well, what am I going to talk about? I just kind of come up here to turn the heat on and take the chill off so I can get a couple things done tonight. But something that's been sitting on my desk for quite a while is this puppy right here. I'll let you get a close-up look at it. It is not an Imperial blaster. Well, it's made to look like an Imperial blaster, but it's made of some other things. It may indeed remind you of the 1970s Imperial Stormtrooper blaster from Star Wars. It's my own interpretation of such item. As you can see, it's got quite a bit of detail. But what else could possibly compare to that wonderful piece of Star Wars iconography? Well, I make this kind of stuff out of other kind of stuff. So this is literally just a collection of parts, a collection of pieces of other things. I can give you a close-up look to you can tell that those ferrules down the blaster carbine are actually shelving brackets. This is an actual scope, and this is some plumbing tubing. Something you would put under your sink. It's just some sink tubing. It just happens to fit inside of this 2-inch pipe. What is this 2-inch pipe actually made out of? Well, this 2-inch pipe is actually, what is it? It is actually the same exact thing as what this is. It's the same thing. I'll lean it back so you can see what it actually is. You've all seen one of these halogen lamps. That's the top of it. And there's your top section. Here's where the dial is to turn it on and off. And then there's 2 more sections of this pipe, all separated by a threaded insert that holds all 3 pieces together. And I want to get this up close so you can see. Well, I want you to be able to see the entire unit in the camera from here to here. And I will demonstrate exactly what this piece is. As you can see, it fits perfectly in the height of that. This fits right there. Okay, so if you happen to have access to one of these old broken lamps, don't throw it away. Do like I do. Hoard all the junk and make it into stuff. I got one of those sections of this type of material already cut into a handful of lightsaber hilts that are in various degrees of finished state. They're basically, when I get around to having the inspiration to finish one of them, I'll grab it and I'll start carving away and gluing and whatever it takes to make one. But that right there, it still needs a lot of work, a great deal of work. I actually want to replace this real scope with my own version of the World War II military tank scope, which was what they had on them in the films for the most part. So I do want to finish constructing that part of it and eventually finish my greebling around the edges. My shot counter is currently being utilized by an old wireless transmitter because it sort of fit the shape and profile of what was supposed to be on the side of this. So who knows if that's what I'll keep on there or if I'll use something completely different. But that's what's on there right now to take the place of that particular greebly. But yeah, someday, hopefully in the next couple of years, I'll have an opportunity to go to a science fiction convention, and when I do hope to take this with me in some form, to be able to share it with folks, along with some of the other things that I'll probably be carrying on me and with me. From what I remember the last time I was at a Star Wars convention, they make a lot of room for these types of items to exist in there because you're play acting in costume if you're a serious science fiction enthusiast. The last couple times I went, I was full head to toe Jedi costume, I think for 4 days in a row. And then the second one I went to, I think I bought a kilt at the second one and was some sort of a Jedi in a Carhartt kilt for the last day of the festival. But I hadn't built any of these types of things yet. I had just had a handful of lightsaber hilts that I had built. And I might even have one behind me. If you'll wait 1 second, I'll take a look and see. Oh yeah, I do have a couple. And I'll bring them out to show. And these are all formed in the process of kit bashing. There's one that I'm working on. It's got a little bit of a display piece here with the napkin ring being inserted ahead of the where the button is going to go there, and there's enough room for a probably an LED lightsaber emitter to be inserted in there and eventually wired up with a soundboard and all that fancy stuff. But for the time being, it's once upon a time it was a curling iron with brushes on it. I took the brushes out and I put those triangular shaped things in, which are actually windshield wiper blades. Yeah, and they make great little grip handles. If you can get them at the right size, you can slide them into those little areas. It's not the easiest thing to do. Sometimes you have to alter them and cut them and just do minor whatever. But yeah, hey, look, it's like 007. I can see you through the circle. Wow. Anyway, I'm just babbling here. So that's one of them. Sink tube, curling iron, and napkin ring. That's 3 pieces, and then add the 4th piece being the wiper blades for the grip. So there's a kit bashing platform. There's one of them. I have several of these inside the house on my lightsaber racks that are very much closer to being finished. Here is one that you may recognize. It is basically a replica of the Graflex armature architecture. Everything on here is handmade for the most part, except for, this piece of plastic is some form of greebly. It just sort of finishes out that front end for display purposes mostly. But yeah, that's one of them. I need to get some grips that stick onto the handle, and that will create a lot of the detail. And I'll have to come up with some sort of a armature to go around the midsection here, which usually requires me to cut and bend some aluminum to make that piece. I haven't made one in quite a few years, so we'll see how my memory does on that. But there's a call it a Luke Skywalker version or an Anakin version, or even nowadays, you know, that was the version that Rey had for the last, you know, the three movies we saw, 15, 17, and 19. So anyway, yeah, there's another one under construction. And then here's like probably one of the oldest ones. This would have been one that I had hanging on my belt back in probably 2005 or 2010 when I went to my last series of conventions down there in Indianapolis. But things that are just made randomly out of oddball bits of metal. In this case, we have a lot of plumbing hose and pipe utilized to create this, and of course a napkin ring and these gray and black O-rings is what they are to make the handled portion. And this was closer to a I guess an episode 3 well, would it be episode 6 actually, because they were 4, 5, and 6. So it would have been a Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker saber that I was copying with the grip shape there. And then the front end of it is just completely a kit bashing of, you know, one of these types of shapes for the emitter. This one's an elongated version of that. But it is what it is. A handful of lightsabers and a good blaster at your side. You never know when you're going to need that. Anyway, I'm just out here in my shop. I got the heater going on so I could actually spend a couple hours out here today noodling on something, whether I just come out here and clean, whether I actually try and kit bash anything, or, you know, who knows what I'll get into. I do know one thing. Life is too short to be sitting in the house staring at my iPad all day. And that's the truth. Life is way too short to be spending it doing trivial things that mean nothing to anyone. So yeah, I'm hoping that today I'll get to spend a little more time wrapping my head around some creative ventures. I got some plants from last year that have been hanging in the cold that still need to be trimmed down and finished before they're completely wasted. And I have a couple of graphics projects on the computer I probably should attend to. And gosh, probably at least 3 episodes of 6 figures to film, where I show off the action figures in their carded packages before I destroy the carded packages and release the figure from the package. That's going to be fun. So if you've seen the channel before on my YouTube channel, you may or may not have seen some of the episodes of 6 figures. If you haven't seen them, go check them out and put a like on 1 or 2 of them in a comment so that I know that you were there. And yeah, you don't have to watch the whole thing. You just kind of speed through it and find something to comment on. Some of them are pretty long. I don't do any editing. I film the video. There's no intro music. There's no outro music. Not that there won't be somewhere down the road, but I just haven't created that yet. My computer is not fancy enough to handle Cakewalk, so I don't do a lot of recording projects. I go to other people's places and do lots of recording, lots of playing the bass, singing some vocals, or whatever it might take to lay down a track for whatever reason. But I don't do that on my own personal computers because they're incapable of running the software. It takes an incredible amount of memory. So, what am I babbling about? It's almost like there should be somebody down there in the chat room to talk to. But one more quick look at that. It's not even a real gun, folks. It doesn't even have a trigger. One of these days, I will fashion some sort of a trigger assembly and have it loaded up against a momentary switch. And then I hope to get a soundboard mounted in here and some LED lights to flash around the barrel in this, this empty space that's in between the silver on the inside and the holes that I drilled through to give it that relief structure. So hopefully one day we'll have some LED lights in there making it flash forward, and there will be some sort of embossment out this side to cover up this silver area here for the I think that's the expulsion of the bullet shells is where that's supposed to go. Either that or that's where they feed in. I'm not 100% sure on that off the top of my head right now. But, it just has to look Star Wars-y to be Star Wars-y. And hopefully by the time I get to another convention, I'll have this much more polished and finished. And maybe a couple more of these sabers worked on. Like maybe this one hanging on my belt. Hanging down there somewhere with a blaster at my side. And then I'll be tired after carrying that thing all day, because one thing I can assure you, it is every bit as heavy as what a real firearm would be. So, yeah, and that's something I'll have to carry that in, is a case, a firearms case, mainly because I can't just throw that in the backseat of the car, because it looks like a bloody machine gun from World War II. And that could be dangerous if I got pulled over and they didn't understand what Star Wars was. There almost might not be a way of even explaining it to them before they drag me out of the car and tase the heck out of me. So, yeah. Before I go bang, 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 bang at anything, even if it's just for fun, got to take a lot of precautions. So that's one thing. If you're into this kit bashing thing and you want to build something like this, take that into consideration. Once you start producing it and it starts to look like a potential firearm, you got to be very careful at it. You never point it at anyone or anything for any reason. Catch my meaning? All right, so that's, I don't know, that's what I'm going to chit chat about today. Hopefully later on I'll update another video of me doing something other than talking about toy guns. Here, where's the button? All right, we'll see you later. Don't let your meatloaf.